it's Marshall Mallow and welcome back to my channel. This Tuesday is a super special day. It is Teacher Appreciation Day, and I thought that I would give you guys a very important video explaining and just truly saying how important teachers are and how much we should appreciate them for all that they have done in our lives to get us to the point of adulthood with all the intellect that we have learned from them. I have had my fair share of poor teachers and really amazing teachers, but today I am going to focus on some of the highlights of my academic experience with some of my teachers. And to protect their privacy, I am not going to mention any of them by name, but if they're watching this video right now, they'll know who they are because it's kind of obvious if they are watching this video and the specific things that they did. So I'm gonna start off in middle school with this one particular episode that happened to me in middle school. I was in the 7th grade and my English teacher in 7th grade had us read this one book. I can't even tell you what the name was of this book, but it had something to do about this 7th grader absolutely hating 7th grade year and absolutely causing complete terror to his teacher. And I remember all throughout this book, this teacher completely disdained this child, and you could just hear it through the narration and through the events that happened, and it was just crazy, all of the escapades this teacher and the student had with one another and how crazy the hatred got. With this book, our teacher actually had us write a paper about a teacher we thought hated us. And I know you're probably thinking that that is probably the weirdest assignment that a teacher could assign, and believe me, I thought it was bizarre. And this is gonna sound so pretentious of me, but at that point in my life, I really didn't think I had a teacher who disdained me or hated my existence. I had pretty darn amazing teachers in my life up to that point, and I loved all of them, and I believe that they all loved me. And I remember going up to my teacher at the end of the day when she assigned us that assignment, and I told her that. I told her I really don't think I have a teacher who dislikes me or who wants to cause complete hell on my life. What I actually ended up proposing to her was that I was going to write about a teacher who I appreciated, me, myself, that I was completely thankful for and wanted to express how thankful I was and how this teacher impacted my life. At the time, my most favorited and prized teacher at the time was my 6th grade teacher. She was just such a blessing on my life, and she always brought a smile to my face, and she was like a mom to me and just always cared for me and always came to class with a smile on her face. And I remember I wrote this long essay about her, and when I turned it in, while all the other students wrote about teachers they thought hated them, I wrote about a teacher I loved. I remember when I turned it in, the teacher I wrote the paper about came up to me and just like told me how appreciative she was of me and was just so honored by the words I had to say in the paper. And my own teacher who assigned that paper was also really amazed with what I had to say. I just honestly didn't think it was right for me to talk about hatred when I loved all my teachers so much. It would have been hypocritical of me to have written about a teacher that I thought hated me when I really didn't think any did, and I didn't hate any myself. Moving on to high school. My junior year of high school, I actually went through a pretty crummy experience in the classroom with another particular student. Basically, there is this assignment that we had to do every couple of weeks in my AP English class my junior year that we had to respond to a forum question. And in this forum, I'm not a concise writer at all, so in these forum posts, I would write huge and freakishly long chunks of text responding to the prompt. And every time I would always get responses back from mine, and people would always tell me that I had good insights, or they'd see things wrong here and there, but they would say it in a very constructive and understanding way. There was this one time where I wrote a really lengthy response, and there was this one person who responded to my post and completely insulted me. It wasn't even close to be considered any form of criticism. This individual basically said that I was writing a lot just for attention, and I didn't make any sense, and I was just using big words just to use them. And then he went on to say, well, instead, I agree with this individual more, in my own form response. Like, why? Why would you do that? And this honestly crushed me so hard, because where I found a lot of value in high school was through my work. And whenever someone looked down upon me or smashed my work before my eyes, I just felt intensely destroyed and crushed personally. I remember that day I went to my English class because it was the last period of the day, and I just wanted nothing to do with English, nothing to do with anyone. I was so tempting calling my mom and going home, because I was not, I did not want to face that insult in real life. The next day rolls around and my teacher finds out about that awful forum response to my post. And you know what he did? The whole day he defended me to all of his periods and basically told the students that my work is super good, super intelligent, and I always have good things to say. And I remember so clearly that he said that I would one day be a professor in language arts at Harvard while everyone else is working a normal job, and I will be the one who's like at the top of the top and working my butt off, and they will regret having done that to me. And I mean, having been crushed so badly the day before by that one person, like, that just made my day when my teacher defended me like that. I literally didn't think my teacher was going to care about it. I thought he was going to tell me to suck it up and to deal with it, but he really helped me right there, and I am so thankful for that my teacher went out of his way to defend me and to prove to people that what that one kid did to me was not mature and not to be tolerated in the future. My senior year of high school, I remember going into physics, and I was just taking physics to take another science class, just to have it on my resume to go to college. I didn't really want to take another science class because I wasn't into science. I was going to go to university for cinematography, so I didn't really care for science. I just wanted it on my transcripts to make me look good. So I ended up taking regular physics in my senior year, and I remember this only happened probably in the last few months of my time in high school. I was chosen to speak on a particular topic in front of the entire school during one of our events, and I spoke about my fight with perfectionism, because in high school I was a perfectionist and I always had to do things to 110%, and everything had to be an A or else I'd be upset. And that's how I defined myself. I defined myself on the grade in the A, and I felt like if I didn't get an A, I would disappoint everyone, and most importantly, disappoint myself. I remember as I spoke about this, my physics teacher was actually in the front row. I remember I would keep looking around in the audience and checking the clock to make sure I was using my time up, and I remember seeing my physics teacher, and he would just be like looking, like nodding every time I was saying something, and I was like, huh, like in the back of my head I was like, that's interesting, like he's just nodding along, like is he just listening, is it because I'm his student and he's just understanding? But I remember a few days later after that, my physics teacher finds me while I'm walking around, and he told me that what I said in my speech was that he related to very, very well. And I had never related to a teacher before that much and having the same struggles. And the fact that he was able to be so open with me and admit that he also went through the same types of things that I am currently going through just made me feel a lot more, like a lot less alone in my struggle with perfectionism. And hearing from someone who has who is continuing to fight it and has gotten to the point that he is at in his life right now, that just made me feel so good and made me feel hopeful for my future, even though I'm currently wrestling with this problem in my life. And I remember even now while I'm in college, I send him letters all the time, and I'm actually going to send more letters in the future. And I was talking to him about perfectionism and stuff, and it's just so nice to be able to talk to someone and relate to someone in that way and to have that kind of connection with someone. And I'm so thankful for, even though it was such a short period of time I was able to spend with him on that particular relational level, I am so thankful for it. So thankful for that opportunity to relate to a teacher in that way. I'd like to end this video with one of the most impactful teachers of my life. And this teacher, if he is watching it, which I'm sure he is, you know who you are. So I had this one teacher for 4 years of my high school career. 4 years! That is my entire high school career as my teacher. And I did not anticipate him being my teacher for all 4 years. I took World History Honors, AP European History, Sociology, and I was a Sociology TA my senior year. I took his World History Honors class, and I wasn't the biggest fan of him as a teacher that year. He was really good. He was energetic and in your face and serious at the same time, but I wasn't planning on taking another history class. And I was actually going to take honors chemistry my sophomore year, but when I went to my advisor, she wouldn't let me take honors chemistry and algebra 2 honors at the same time. So I had to take out honors chemistry, and I didn't want to go without another honors or AP class, so I took the only other one that was left, and that was AP European History. So that's how I ended up with him my sophomore year. It was not necessarily by choice. And that's when I started growing a deeper connection with this teacher, was my sophomore year. I was actually going through a really tough time my sophomore year. It was just a rocky year for me, and there was one particular event that just was the tipping point of that year. And I was so scared to talk to this teacher one-on-one that I actually brought one of my friends with me for our first meeting, just to make sure I wasn't alone. And I remember after that meeting, the whole dynamic of our relationship changed. After that, I learned that my teachers have hearts and they care about me in high school as well. And for the rest of that year, I had several emotional breakdowns and several times where just stress overwhelmed me so much, and he was like a second father to me. And no matter what, he was always there for me. I remember this so clearly. My sophomore year, he lost his voice for a good portion of the year. I don't even remember how long. It was like a month or something crazy. He had his voice lost. And even though he could not speak, I went to him and had sit-down meetings with him, and I would say something and he would sit right next to me and write out his response on this like piece of paper and just keep showing it to me. And it amazed me how much dedication that took. So even though he was feeling really crummy, he still took the time out of his day to sit down with me and to hear me out and give me advice. I can't think of anyone more amazing than that in high school who was willing to do that. And wow. I remember graduating last year, and I was so sad graduating because this teacher has just helped me through so much all 4 years throughout my high school career, and I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do without this teacher here by my side every day. And having him as a teacher every day in high school, I just didn't know. Wow. I just didn't know how college was going to pan out for me, being in a completely new place and not having that connection anymore with a teacher that I was so thankful for, and that helped me so much get through everything, not just academics, but life as well. I remember opening my yearbook at the end of the year, and he said in his note to me that his door was always open for me, even in college. And you want to know something amazing? He still keeps in contact with me even though I'm in university. And that is probably one of the biggest blessings someone could do for me, is to stay in contact with me and show that they truly care. He visited me once in university, which was so amazing, and I just saw him this past week, and I am so incredibly thankful, that he has stayed in my life for me. He has done so much for me, and I hope he knows how thankful I am for him in my life, because I would not be the person I am today if it weren't for him. I would not know that sociology even existed if it were for him. I would not have loved history so much if it weren't for him, and I'd probably be a mess if it weren't for him right now, because I went through a lot in high school, and he was there every step of the way for me. Anyways, you guys, that is all I have for today's video. If you liked it, be sure to give this video a thumbs up, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Bye! I would go whoop, hi, and I'd be working super fast for the first couple minutes of the exam, but then as soon as we hit the halfway mark, I will be battling to stay awake during my exam. I will just want to lay my head down and forget about it, give up halfway through my exam. Gosh, this sounds terrible.